We begin again with the words of the Mesil Yesharim, Reb Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, who says the following important life lesson. Yesod HaChasidus, the foundation of Chasidus. Each one of these words is an atomic explosion by itself. The Yesod, the foundation, the foundation of a building. Sometimes a person looks like a building should be going straight up, a 100-story building, but in order to build a 100-story building, we have to build 20, 30, 40 stories deep. So I thought you wanted to build a building up that way, and they find that the diggers are coming and they're creating a big hole in the ground and they're pouring cement in the wrong direction. If we want to build a building in order to go up, so we have to build something down. So what is that? There's an inner world. That in order to create a tall and a lasting building, Yesod HaChasidus, the foundation of reaching the sky, of being that V'hine Sulam Mutz of arts of Arosha Magia Shemaima, of the head reaching all the way up to the heavens, is what? And also the shorish, the root of the avodah hatamima, who she is barer, has to become clear to a person, has to gain a certain focus, not just a certain focus, like we have in halachas of Shabbat, the laws of Shabbos. We have a concept of borer. Borer is to sort the bad from the good. And that's one of the things that the mind is doing, is we're sorting out and we're leaving out, we're filtering out the bad in order that we can focus on what it is that we're here to do. I imagine that there's a basketball player playing in his championship game, and his team is down by 1 point, and he goes up to the basket, and as the clock runs out and the game is over, he's fouled. All the players leave the court, and he's there on the visiting team court that was tens and 15,000, 20,000 people standing and screaming against him, saying things about his family, saying things about his mother, saying things that he's no good, and booing and cheering and trying to distract him. And this fellow's standing there on the foul line doing something that he's practiced thousands and thousands of times. He's just got to get that ball into the basket twice. If he misses both shots, then he's going to fall to the ground, he's going to cry, and the other team will be victorious. If he hits one shot, he ties, so fine, he's okay. He's not the big hero, but at least he extends the life of this team and the life of the season. But if he hits both shots, then he's a hero. So what is he going to do? He has to filter out all of that bad noise, all of that distraction, all of the crosswinds that are trying to take him away from what it is that he's here to do, that focus that he's here to do. He knows that he came to play that game. He knows that they've been practicing, and he's been practicing his whole life for that championship game. And therefore, he's not going to allow himself to become distracted. And even a little bit of distraction is going to cause him to throw up 2 bricks that are going to make him into the goat. And he has that also swirling in the back of the mind, all of that doubt. So the idea over here is that all those days of practice that go into, that bring the person to perfection, who she is barer v'yis ames eitz la'adam, it should become a big goal. Once everything else is filtered out, that small little goal of getting that ball into the hole and winning the championship and creating whatever it is that they're trying to do over there, that has to become amplified, has to become big, and so big in his mind that he can't forget it when he goes to sleep at night, and he can't forget about it when he wakes up in the morning. It's the first idea, it's the energy that drives him into everything that he does throughout the day. And he says, what is his obligation in the world? What am I here to do? What was I put here to do? What was I put here to accomplish? On what should he place his ambition and mabato and his glance, and everything that he's going to struggle, all the days of his life? What is it that I can struggle at? What is that goal that's going to last, that's going to weave in and out, that golden thread that weaves in and out of my whole life? And he drops an important secret over here, another important secret. And that is that what is it that the person is going to omal at? What is the person going to work at? What am I here to work out? What is my goal that's going to drive me to exercise something, to exercise some muscle every day? And I think the secret over here, that one of the things that the Ramchal is telling us, it's implied in these words, is the famous words of Eov, is that Adam la'amal yulad, that we were put here to work. Man was put here to work. Sometimes we find ourselves, we're wishing, if I was a rich man. Okay, I'm sure we've all heard the old Fiddler on the Roof, pie in the sky dream. If I was a rich man. I know a very, very wealthy man, extremely wealthy man. And he once told me, I asked him about, what do you think about this? What do you think about that opportunity? He said, if you find something that's too good to be true, it is. And even if it looks like And even if it seems like it could work out, and it does come true, and the person does win that pot of gold, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be success, just the opposite. Because we live with the notion that nobody can give anybody anything. Nobody can give anybody anything. The greatest thing that somebody can give another person, the greatest gift that a person can give to another person, is to show him what he already has and what he already possesses, who he already is. Remember, I used to learn with a businessman in Manhattan. He told me, Rabbi, he says, you're not going to try to convert me, are you? And I told him, Larry, I said, first of all, I can't convert you. You're already Jewish. All I can do is to help you become more of what you already are and to appreciate what you already have. I remember stepping into a cab in Yerushalayim. I was there for a week to visit my boys. And I was spending Shabbos at a certain place. And from where I was staying to where I needed to go for Shabbos, it was a 15-minute cab ride, and Shabbos was coming. It was getting close. And so as it was getting close, I rushed down to the curbside, and I grabbed what I hope would be the last cab so that everybody would be able to get home for Shabbos. And this fellow comes screeching to the curbside, and I jump into the cab. Now, while I'm in Eretz Israel, I like to see if I can get into a little bit of a conversation with the cab driver. And, you know, even if I have a few minutes, I try to measure the time. So I know we have a good 6-7 minute ride to our destination. I would like to allow him the time to get back to where he needs to go until Shabbos is about to begin. So when I get into the cab, I mention the name of the street, and he immediately screeches away from the curbside. And as we're rushing ahead, this fellow didn't look like he was into having any kind of conversation. His head was shorn, totally, you know, young fella, but he looked like he had a certain stern, maybe even an angry look on his face, disturbed. And I said to him, I said, you know, in my impoverished conversational Hebrew, I said, Ma shemcha? What's your name? He looked at me he's already annoyed by the length of the conversation. He says, Uri. Like that, he drops Uri. One syllable, Uri. And with that piece of information now in place, I turned to him and I said, Uri, Ifa Tagar, where are you from? Where do you live? And again, he gives me this look like, why are you getting in conversation with me? He says, Yerushalayim. But when he says Yerushalayim, I feel a certain uptick in pride coming out of his voice, Yerushalayim. I can hear the words, the music singing in the background. I can see it in his heart swelling with pride. And I said, Uri, ataka modag. Uri, you are like a fish. And he shoots a glance at me. He's about to pull over to the curb again and throw the car door open. Send me out. And I said, Slicha, I said, Ani tzarich lasbir, I have to explain. He looks at me, Betach, ata tzarich lasbir, you have to explain, ataka modag. And I said, Uri, Uri, I said, Tagar b'Yushalayim. I told him, Ba'ati mir America, I just came from America. I'll pay him $1. I paid $2,000 liyopo to be here, rak l'shua echad, to be here for 1 week. I told him, Hadavar mufursam aladag, the most obvious thing about a fish, shehu gar b'mayim, he lives in the water. He doesn't know that he lives in water. Lama? Because he's the whole time in the water. The only one that doesn't know that he lives in the water is the fish, because he's all the time there. Atagar b'Yerushalayim. Uri. Ani mekaneh, I'm jealous of you. Uri, atagar b'Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim shel zahav. Yerushalayim ir HaKodesh. Uri, ani mekaneh, I'm so jealous of you. By the time we reached our destination, he gave me a tip. He was so excited because he's there the whole time. I'm paying $2,000 to be there for a week, and he lives there all the time. Okay, we could chuckle, Uri. But we're here all the time. And we wake up with the possibility of doing something important, doing something meaningful every day. Adam l'Amal Yula, the person was put over here to work, but what type of work? What's called, why were we put over here to work? So the Zohar tells us a concept called Nahama Dikisufa. Nahama Dikisufa. So you might ask somebody, why do we work? So I once saw a couple of guys stuffed into a car, an old Volvo, early in the morning, and the bumper sticker read, I owe. It's off to work I go. I owe. It's off to work to go. That was one bumper sticker. On the other side, it said, life stinks and then you die. Okay? Have a nice day. I saw another bumper sticker, trying to get too close to cars, that says, maybe the hokey pokey really is what it's all about. Right? You put your right hand in, you put your right hand out, you put your left hand, you turn yourself. That's what it's all about. But I think we all suspect and we all know deep in our hearts that that's not what it's all about. The Almighty made us, that the Ramchal explains later on, that we should be able to revel. We should be able to come close to Hashem in the next world. I know it sounds like it's rachok. It sounds like it's very, very far away. But the question that's asked, it's not my question, it's the Zohar. How come HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't put us right away into the next world? What did we have to go through the gauntlet of this world for? All the struggles, all the tribulations, all the effort, all the striving, all the difficulty, all the pain, all the sorrow, all the doubt. What do we have to go through this for? And the answer is, the Zohar says, so we shouldn't have to come to the next world. Put us in the next world. Put us in the next world. Bypass this world and put us right away into the next world without any effort. Give us the advantage of basking in the glory and feeling the light and reveling in the closeness that we have to the source of all pleasure, the source of honey, the source of ice cream, the source of love, the source of all good. And the answer, the Zohar says, is just two words, Nahamet de Kisufa. Nahamet de Kisufa means, what does that mean? It means white bread. Not white bread that we're talking about over here as opposed to whole wheat bread. We're talking about bread of shame, the bread of embarrassment. More painful than working hard and not getting the award you thought you should have gotten. It's to suddenly be called upon and be crowned as the Gadol Hador, the great one of the generation, the tzaddik, when you know deep inside you're not the tzaddik and you didn't earn it and you're not that person. It's very, very painful to be given honor that was really undeserved, because deep inside it doesn't feel authentic, it doesn't feel real, and it doesn't feel right. Because nobody can give something to somebody that they didn't earn. We have to be able to earn something. And therefore, Kadosh Baruch Hu put us into this world that we should be able to work, we should be able to get that flavor of success, the flavor of accomplishment that comes with doing a mitzvah and doing something right, and thereby coming closer and developing the muscles that bring us and climbing step by step, that we're coming close to our Kadosh Baruch Hu. So by the time we get there, we've already created a certain momentum and acceleration that we're running into the arms of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And we're coming closer. When we get there, we feel that there's a certain level of deservedness, even though it's disproportionate. And therefore, it's worthwhile to develop an appetite for something called a feeling of accomplishment. And it's one of the things that we do every Shabbat, which is Me'ein Olam Haba, which is a little portion, a little flavor of the next world. We go around the Shabbos table, and we ask our children an important question. I'm only sorry I didn't start when my children were younger. And we ask the following question. And the question is very simple. What did you do this week? We do it every week. What did you do this week that gave you the greatest feeling of accomplishment? And it's unbelievable that what we've discovered over the course of the years, and it didn't take a long time to figure the secret out, that what people feel a sense of victory about, and what gives us a sense, and actually it's no mistake that the word for victory, menatzeach, is the same root of the word nitzchias, which is eternity. Because when a person is victorious, they've actually done something that lasts forever. That what gives the person the feeling of accomplishment most of the week was not that I bought a new pair of shoes, or that somebody else awarded me or gave me a great praise. It was usually something that somebody did that was difficult, for them in particular, that was really pressing along their area of difficulty, that was their line of where the war of life is fought on their battleground, everybody individually, and also something that they might have done for somebody else. I remember one of my daughters one week, she said, I got an 85 on a math test, and we sing bum 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 bum. We give like a singing applause. And one of her brothers said, 85, that's not a good grade. She says, well, I studied hard. I'm not so good at math. And I thought I was going to fail. So I'm very excited about the 85 because I worked hard for it. It could be a math genius who's going to get an A+, but not going to feel good about it, as she's going to feel about her 85. We had an older bacher, an older fellow from Or Sameach, who was sitting at the table, 40-something-year-old fellow, not married yet, who took a couple of years to learn in yeshiva. And he said, we turned to him and said, what did you do this week that gave you the greatest feeling of accomplishment? He said, I had a nice conversation with my mother. Bum, ba, ba, bum, 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 ba, ba, bum, bum, ba, ba, bum, 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 bum. For some people, that's an accomplishment. Who knows? Maybe she's trying to bait him. What are you doing already? How come you're not married? Why are you spending time in yeshiva? Building in the wrong direction when you should be going up. Another fellow sitting next to him, young Sephardi fellow, said, I finished the whole Sefer Tehillim every day this week. Whoa, 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 whoa. And there was another fellow sitting next to him. He said, I made it to Shacharit 3 times this week. And each one was equivalent because that was the battleground that that person happens to be struggling in. And therefore, everybody, by taking note of where it is that they feel their greatest feeling of accomplishment. Sometimes we struggle. Ask my daughter, it's your turn to do the sink in the fleshik dishes, this sink or the milchik sink right before Shabbat, and it's been piling up for a couple of days, and she didn't do it till now. You go, but I'm in a hurry, and I got to comb my hair, and I got to do this. It's your job. You have to do it. And a little disgruntled, and she washes the dishes. And then comes Shabbat, and we go around the table. What did you do this week that gave you the greatest feeling of accomplishment? I cleaned all the dishes in the milchik sink. It was the hardest thing that the person did. It was the thing that they didn't want to do. And in the end, it gave them the greatest feeling of accomplishment. We're here to do difficult things. We're here to do hard things. Adam la'amal yulad. They say it was a great rabbi with a long white beard, an old tzaddik, and he and his young tzaddik, his young son, with a short black beard, they were breaking into the ice to gain an extra level of kedusha, to get that little extra tefillah in a freezing cold mikveh. And one was hammering through the ice, the young son and his elderly father, the Rebbe. And the young son broke through the ice first, and he jumped in. Ouch, 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 ouch. Oh, going into the cold water. You imagine how cold it is, how painful it is going into a cold swimming pool. Halkas kama v'kama, going into a freezing cold lake. And when the sun came out with the icicles in his beard, he said, oh, gewaltig, beautiful. And his father realized, the elder Rebbe said, this is really the teachable moment over here. And he says, I want you to remember this for all time. He says, that's how it goes by mitzvahs. They start out ouch, 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 but they end up ooh, ah. And by Averas, it goes the other way around. They start out ooh, ah, and they end up ouch, ouch, ouch. Sometimes we need that little encouragement, something the Torah telling us, something that we're obligated to do, that we're chayav to do, and it may not be easy to do, like washing those dishes, or having a nice conversation with your mother, or getting up for shacharit, or doing any of those things. And sometimes it doesn't feel good when we start it, but when we finish it, that sometimes gives us the greatest feeling of accomplishment. And we know when we're doing that, Odom la'amal yulad, we're coming closer and closer to a Kodesh Baruch Hu. I took my son recently to Eretz Yisrael for a trip before his bar mitzvah, the week of his bar mitzvah. And one of the things that we did was freezing cold. It was snowing. It was raining. We went up to Sfat. We managed to make to the Mikvah Ri. And the whole time we're building up. When we're going to get there, we're going to go to the Mikvah Ri. Person doesn't leave this world, they say, without doing tshuva. If you go into the cold waters of the Mikvah Ri, it could be just because of the cold water, but I think there's an extra segula, something extra special accomplishment in going to the Mikvah Ri. And of all the things that we did, went to the hilltops of Yerushalayim, we went to the tunnels of Yerushalayim, we traveled around, and all the great things that we did, I asked my son at the end of the trip, I said, what was the thing that we did this week that gave you the greatest feeling of accomplishment? What was the biggest excitement? And I was really surprised because it was freezing, snowing. It was freezing outside. It was snowing. The water was cold. He was scared the whole time. Do I really have to go in? But just like the Rebbe and his son, he says, the thing that I think I remember the most and that made the biggest impact on me, he says that I went into the waters of the Mikvah Ri. It was not easy to do. It was not something that was inviting. It wasn't like eating a chocolate sundae. It was something that was hard to do, and that's what gave him a feeling of accomplishment, that he did something that pushed him beyond his limit and made him become a little bit more of what it is that he could become. Odom la'amal yulad, we're put into this world to work. And if somebody thinks that they're going to go on easy street and they're going to do somebody else a favor by giving them everything that they need, they're actually weakening them, and they're hurting them, and they're damaging them the most important way. By giving people food in such a way that they become dependent is really the biggest cruelty that can happen to a person. It runs against the whole source and the whole reason for this universe. Therefore, the greatest gift that a person can give to somebody is to help them know what their purpose is, and to help them understand that we're here to work, and to help them develop the muscles that they need in order to make those daily accomplishments and those yearly accomplishments and that ultimate life accomplishment. And Bez Hashem, we should be zocheh to learn even more and more of some of the words of the Mesilas Yesharim.